I felt like the vast amount of information, while very useful for any learner or adopter, was also a bit overwhelming for any company or individual trying to get started with generative AI and the Azure OpenAI service. There was a lot of demand from companies around the world, and this technology deserved to be massively adopted in a safe, responsible manner. It was then that I started drafting the main concepts of a technical guide for application development with Azure OpenAI Service. Initially, it was just a way to keep track of all the URLs and pieces of information I was continuously collecting. Then I continued adding my notes based on my own implementation experiences. Finally, I kept changing or adding content based on the recurrent questions and discussions I was getting from clients, friends, and even family. This was a great baseline, and I knew it could become an official technical guide or even a full book. I decided to talk to my O'Reilly colleagues and present the topic. These conversations took only a matter of weeks. The potential was clear, but the challenge was huge: creating high-quality O'Reilly-level content in a timely manner, as soon as possible, so all generative AI adopters could start listening and learning. This has been one of my most challenging but still rewarding experiences. I feel really honored to write this book. So many Microsoft folks around the world could have done it, and for this reason, I took the opportunity very seriously. My main goal was to create something that would include all critical elements for Azure OpenAI learning, keeping in mind the constantly evolving context, showing the best features and implementation approaches, but knowing that there will be others soon and a continuously changing mix of generative availability and new features in preview. But that's part of the charm, and the reason why I like this book and the creative process behind it so much. One of my favorite things, and I hope you like it too, is the combination of the typical static content of a book with the interactivity of online repositories, references to evolving documentation, and the incredible power of the guest interviews. Having such an amazing amount of talent and knowledge from a roster of AI pros is an authentic luxury for you as listeners and avid learners, but also for me as an AI professional. Now, I hope that if you have decided to start listening to this book, you are ready to explore each piece, from the core technical aspects to the other relevant business and ethical aspects that will help you during your first generative AI projects with Azure OpenAI Service. Truly yours, Adrian. How this book is organized. The content of this book is organized in a way that follows the typical adoption work streams for new technologies: initial understanding of their potential, exploration of technical implementations, considerations for operationalization, and business requirements. Depending on the company and its level of maturity, the sequence of things may change. For example, experienced AI teams will have a clearer understanding of the business aspects and future operationalization, then consolidate the technical part. Regardless of you and your company's context, the 7-book chapters should cover what you need to leverage Azure OpenAI Service for your generative AI implementations. Chapter 1: Introduction to Generative AI and Azure OpenAI Service. A 101 overview of AI, generative AI, and the role of Azure OpenAI Service for enterprise-grade implementations. Ideal if you are starting your generative AI journey from scratch. Chapter 2: Designing Cloud-Native Architectures for Generative AI. A top-down approach for architecting generative AI applications based on cloud-native principles, with the most relevant building blocks, including those from the Microsoft Azure cloud. The key preliminary step before you start exploring Azure OpenAI Service. Chapter 3: Implementing Cloud-Native Generative AI with Azure OpenAI Service. The core chapter for you to explore the different Azure OpenAI interfaces, including visual playgrounds and APIs, as well as the main implementation approaches and patterns. Chapter 4: Additional Cloud and AI Capabilities. The perfect complement to the third chapter, the place to go if you want to learn about all related pieces, such as vector databases, orchestration engines, and other Azure-related